Chapter 4. Georgie was sitting at the kitchen table, his feet resting on the top rung of his chair. He nibbled on a peanut butter sandwich and listened to the tinks and pings that drifted in from the living room. He smushed the peanut butter around in his mouth and thought. The thing about Allison Hussman, and Georgie realized, was that she was the prettiest girl in the seventh grade. She wasn't just the prettiest girl in her class or the prettiest girl out of all the seventh graders in the school. Oh no, Georgie was certain that she was the prettiest girl out of all the seventh graders in the entire world. And next year she'd be the prettiest eighth grader. Too bad for any girl who was born the same year as Allison Hussman. As far as Georgie was concerned, any other girl could only hope for second prettiest until Allison kicked the bucket or moved to Mars. But of all the ways that Allison Hussman was pretty, standing at the bus stop, tucking her hair behind her ear, even sneezing, the way she was the prettiest was sitting in Georgie's living room playing piano. Georgie could see her now, where she sat, back straight, toes on the pedals, her bright red hair streaming down the back of their blue turtleneck sweater. Georgie's mother leaned over the piano and turned a page in the music book. All right, Allison, that was pretty good. You're making progress. She looked at her watch. Let's try that last piece one more time, okay? Allison sat up even straighter and began to play again as Georgie's mother counted time. Tin, 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 ponk, ting, 2, 3, 4, bing, 2, 3, 4, tin, to tin, tong, ping. Allison was definitely pretty, but that didn't make her any good at playing the piano. All right, good work, Georgie's mom said graciously when Allison finished. Remember, no lesson next week, okay? So you'll have lots of time to practice. Georgie thought his mother put a bit too much emphasis on that last word. Okay, Allison gathered her things and walked toward the door. She spied Georgie on the way out and raised a hand in his direction. Hi, Georgie. His heart stopped. He felt the peanut butter sticking to the roof of his mouth. He racked his brain for something wonderful to say, something perfect and meaningful, so Allison would know how great he was, even if he was 3 years younger and 2 feet shorter. Hi, he said. She smiled. The peanut butter on the roof of his mouth seemed to melt. Well, bye. Bye, Mrs. Bishop. Thank you. I promise to practice more this time. And the door closed. Georgie's heart started back up again. You okay? His mother asked as she entered the kitchen. Georgie nodded and smiled. She smiled and filled the kettle with water. Did Andy's mom say it was okay to come over? Georgie nodded again. I can take you in about 20 minutes. Is that all right? Georgie continued to nod. His mom ruffled his hair on the way to the stove. A few minutes later, the kettle started to scream at them. So Georgie's mom plopped a tea bag into her mug and poured in the steaming water. She sat down across from Georgie and stirred her tea with a spoon. Georgie stared at her. He'd been doing a lot of that since last night at dinner, staring at his mother. He kept trying to find something different about her, something new. It seemed like she should look different somehow, with a whole separate person growing inside her, but she didn't. She looked just the same as always. Are you okay, Georgie? She asked. His mom had asked him that about 50 times since last night. So had his dad. Why would there be anything wrong with him? He wasn't the one having a baby. She set her spoon on the table. Georgie picked it up and began absent-mindedly clinking it out a melody between 2 water glasses. You know, his mom said, if you want to ask me any questions, you can. Anything at all. I won't mind. She had said that at dinner, too. Georgie didn't really have any questions to ask, but it had seemed important to his parents that he ask something. So he made up some questions, like would it be a boy or a girl? They didn't know yet. They said they wanted to be surprised. Did he still have to help wash the dishes? They said yes, of course he did. Then Georgie asked when was the baby coming? They said it was due in May. They also said not to worry, because according to the test, the baby was nice and healthy. Well, Georgie wasn't worried. What would he be worried about? But what did they mean, nice and healthy? Did that mean the baby was normal? Georgie set the spoon down and took a gigantic bite of his peanut butter sandwich. If his parents wanted to have another kid, a perfectly normal-looking, nice and healthy one, great. He didn't care. Georgie, are you sure you're okay? He smiled up at his mother, peanut butter smeared across his front teeth. Yep. All right, he said. she said. Georgie finished off the last bite of his sandwich and wiped his face with his napkin. His mother pressed the back of her hand against her tea mug and took a long look at her son. Why don't you get yourself together, and I'll drive you to Andy's in a few minutes. Georgie hopped off his chair and threw his napkin away. Hey, Georgie, his mom called. He turned. Give me a kiss, huh? He walked to his mother and gave her a peck on the cheek. Normally, he would have thought that was a babyish thing to do, but his mom seemed to need a kiss right then.